guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be reviewing Gemini Jet's Boeing 737 MAX 9 in the Aero Mexico colors, along with the Threshold exclusive Flair Air 737 MAX. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. So today I'm going to start out with the Aero Mexico 737 MAX 9. Now, I've been eyeing this model down for a bit because I do want an Aero Mexico in my fleet, and the MAX does go into Toronto, Vancouver, and I believe Montreal as well. So I'm definitely glad to get this. I'm not sure what's going on with their route to Calgary. They were operating the 800s on it in 2019, but it has not since been restored since the COVID-19 pandemic. But yes, I got an excuse to get this as I wanted free shipping on the Flair 737 MAX, and this allowed me to do that. So let's take a closer look at this beautiful Gemini Jet's Aero Mexico 737 MAX 9. Now, let's move on to the Aero Mexico 737 MAX 9. Now that I have it out of the box, this is the first MAX 9 in my fleet. I have plenty of MAX aircraft, but they're all MAX 8s. The MAX 9 is just a bit longer and has an extra exit door, which you can see right there. Now, let's take a closer look at the Aero Mexico livery, starting out with the Sky Team logo here, a red stripe that goes across the full fuselage, the Aero Mexico titles with the Mexican flag next to it. You have the winglets, which are detailed with the same logo you have on the back. I'm not sure if there's a name for the guy on the back there, but he is also featured on the winglets. Now, I tend to find Gemini Jets always does a good job on detailing the winglets, and I always find that as a nice touch on any model to have the winglets properly detailed, because sometimes they're not. So yeah, but all around, I think Gemini Jets has a very solid MAX mold. So this is a pretty good model. I could see they had some issues on some of their MAXs in the United MAX 8s having what they call rocket ship engines. But yeah, this one looks pretty good all around. So no complaints here. Glad to have this to my collection. If you're in need of an Aero Mexico model, this is a solid choice. So yeah, let's move on to the Flair 737 MAX. Here we have the Flair Air 737 MAX 8. This is an exclusive model from Thresholds, also an Aero Classics model. Now, interesting to see how this goes because Aero Classics are infamous for not doing modern models that great, and their MAX mold also isn't amazing. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm sure it will be fine for the most part though. But yeah, I'm very happy that we have a Flair MAX made in 1:400. I did expect Gemini Jets to make it at some point, or NG, as NG is rumored to be making a 737 MAX mold. And NG, I must admit, very nice to the Canadian collectors. We get plenty of Canadian models, some stuff that a little more obscure that Gemini Jets I think would be unlikely to release, like the Flair 800 and the cargo jet aircraft. But yeah, let's take a closer look at this Flair MAX. So here we have the Flair 737 MAX 8. Now, looking at this mold, it isn't terrible, but there are some obvious issues, including the nose being a little bit too pointy and definitely the winglets being misshaped. I'm sure there are other issues, smaller issues with this model, but all around it isn't terrible. You're definitely better off going with a Gemini Jets mold over the Aero Classics mold. But if there's something you need, like with me, it was the Flair MAX, yeah, you should be okay with it. Now, the camera is making this model look a little darker than it really is, but Aero Classics tends to do their colors dark anyways. The black isn't bad. The purple actually isn't terrible, but surprisingly, they went too light on the mint green. If you want to look at an example of the right green here, you have Flair. That's Flair's from NG, and that's the right green. So it is a little bit light, but it's by no means a terrible model, and definitely still something I'd pick up if you need it. However, if Gemini Jets or NG were to ever release this model at some point, I'd definitely be buying their version too. Now, the unpainted winglets on this isn't necessarily unrealistic, because some of Flair's Maxes don't have painted winglets. They just have that plain grain color, so that's not an unrealistic part of the model. However, it would have been nice if they could have done a detailed winglet version with the one with the green winglets, but if Gemini Jets or NG releases it at some point, I'm sure they'll use that version of it, and then I'll just have both versions of the Flair Max. So yeah, definitely happy to have this model. Good exclusive from Threshold, but to be honest, I was hoping Threshold would pick a different exclusive, as I do anticipate this is going to be released by Flair, and I mean Gemini Jets or NG at some point. So yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys back next time.